Okay, welcome back to another video. Today's going to be kind of a chill video, and we're going to look at some trades that I may consider committing to next week. And if that sounds cool, please consider subscribing. That way you don't miss any videos of me trying to make some extra money selling options with a subset of my portfolio. Most of my money's in index funds, which I just let ride and go with the market. But I wanted to see if I could make selling options work and try to make some extra income doing so. So if you want to follow along, hit subscribe. If you're new to options, like I once was a while ago, and want to learn all of the basics and help out the channel, I have a course. It's linked down below. Thanks for even considering it if you do. And I try to make it affordable and well worth your time. So you learn pretty much everything I know up to this point in terms of selling options. And one more housekeeping thing, I am going to be on vacation next week, so I'm not going to have any ability to make a video. But of course, when I get back, I'll keep you guys posted because I will be on my phone on Robinhood. So I'll definitely be looking to make some trades throughout the week. And for fun, I wanted to ask ChatGPT for some ideas on maybe some companies I never considered selling options on before. And so here are the companies that it said were beaten down pretty drastically, and they have high implied volatility, which can mean that you can get some more premium because these are volatile names right now. And none of these I've ever sold options on before, except one at the very bottom, which I was surprised to see, and that is Celsius. So I wanted to take a look at Celsius. I haven't looked at Celsius in a bit, and maybe now's a time to sell a put on Celsius this coming week. So maybe this is something also I'll do in the future, is just continue to ask AI if it has any ideas on some companies to sell some puts on, because for me, I have a select set of companies that I continued to sell options on, and you guys probably know if you've watched other videos, but maybe there's some out there that I never considered, and I'm like, oh yeah, that might be a good one to sell options on if I like the company. Which Celsius, I do like the company. I like the product. I'm actually unironically drinking one right now. And I've made a few bucks selling puts on Celsius in the past. So if we go to sell a put that is going to expire next week, because I typically like to sell puts that expire 1 week out. One that catches my eye and is pretty conservative is this $25 strike. 83% chance of it expiring worthless, has a pretty low delta, as you would imagine with this percentage, and I'll make $20. So I'll put up $2,500 in collateral. I'll make $20 in premium as long as I don't buy it back to close later on. Then it might vary, but not a bad ROI in 1 week's time. Now, things can go south, as we know, in the stock market, and this might be in the money come Friday. And if that were the case, honestly, I'd be okay with owning Celsius shares. And I reiterate this all the time because I think it's super important. Even I sometimes forget it. Only sell puts on stocks you don't mind owning, and you see yourself owning, because that might happen. You might be in the money with a put, and it makes more sense to just acquire the shares than continue to roll them out. Something else I'm going to keep an eye on next week is I acquired 100 shares of TQQQ from previously selling a put, and these were actually assigned to me by the option buyer, and they exercised their right to sell me these shares. So I started selling calls lower than my acquired price. And if TQQQ continues to go up throughout the week, what I'm going to have to do is look at rolling these up and out in expiration. But it's too soon to come to a conclusion to do that yet, because we still have the week ahead, and I don't like to roll things out much more preemptively. I used to every now and then in the past. I've usually regretted that, so I think for me it's best to just wait and get closer to expiration. Something else I'm going to look at, and this shouldn't come as a shock, is selling some covered calls on Sofi. I've sold 2 already, but if Sofi continues to recover and go back up, I might look at generating some income selling some covered calls. And this will be out maybe, 4 weeks out in expiration, perhaps at a strike price of $14.50 or $15, because my average cost per share of Sofi is like $12.50. So even if these $14.50 were in the money come expiration, and I didn't decide to roll them up and out at expiration, and they were assigned, I would get $200 per contract of capital appreciation from selling those shares of Sofi. And then if nothing happens, I just keep the premium that I received from the beginning, and I can purchase more shares of Sofi in the meantime. which is typically what I do with the premium I get. I just reinvest it back into the stock and get more shares that way. I have some more puts that are pretty deep in the money that are expiring this Friday that, unless they recover huge between now and then, I'm going to end up rolling them, such as MSTU and Nubank. And these $15 put Sofi options that I sold, these will likely expire in the money. I'd be very surprised if it went up to $15 by Friday. So I'm also going to look at rolling these ones out as well. I also acquired recently from selling puts a decent amount of shares in Robinhood. So I'm at 425 shares here, and this is another stock that I could look at selling covered calls and generate some income holding Robinhood stock. And my average cost per share is about 45 bucks. I forgot to look at that before looking at the options chain. So even if we sold at the acquired price some calls, 91% chance that they expire worthless, so I'll just keep my premium and be on my merry way. 20 bucks per contract. So both Robinhood and Sofi I'll keep an eye on next week in terms of selling calls on those stocks. I also continue to sell covered calls on the SPY and my Fidelity account. So far that's been working nicely since the SPY just seems to continually be beaten down the last few weeks and those calls just expire worthless. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what I'm going to look at into next week. I do have some margin freed up to sell some additional puts, though I'm not going to be very risky doing so. So if the opportunity comes up where I want to sell some more puts on some different stocks, I can do so, but I'm going to try to be very intentful doing that. And once I get back, I'll let you know everything that happened, how much money I made extra in premium, if any, which I hope I do. And I hope to see you in a future video.